Okay, we're going to talk about the combat in the Batman Arkham series versus other games. So there are 4 games in the Batman Arkham series. All of them have the exact same combat. We're comparing that combat system to other games with similar combat. So the games in the Batman Arkham series are Batman Arkham Asylum, the first game, then Batman Arkham City, the second game. Both of those games were developed by Rocksteady Studios for the last generation of gaming. The third game is Batman Arkham Origins. It wasn't developed by Rocksteady. It was developed by a different developer, also for the last generation of gaming consoles. Rocksteady actually came back to develop Batman Arkham Knight early in this generation of gaming systems. So yeah, they developed 3 out of the 4 games, but all 4 games have the same combat. Now, that combat system is pretty much identical to the combat system in Mad Max for the PS4. It's very similar to Lord of the Rings Shadow of Mordor and Lord of the Rings Shadow of War. It's very similar to the Witcher series. It's similar to the Assassin's Creed series. It's even similar to newer games like Spider-Man on the PS4, or even older games like The Mark of the Kree and its sequel Rise of the Kasai for the PS2. So we're going to be comparing all of these combat systems. So let's find us some enemies. Okay, got my detective vision right here to look for enemies. Okay, that same vision, if you notice, it looks similar to the vision of Lord of the Rings Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War, the Wraith vision. It's also similar to the Assassin's Creed vision, where all the enemies are red. In Batman they're blue. But yeah, but we're talking about combat, and more specifically we're going to talk about the counter system. So there's some enemies there. I'm going to surround myself with those enemies. Let's see. Let's get to these guys. Good, okay. We want to get surrounded by a bunch of people, so come on, come get me. All of you guys. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm not going to be attacking at first. I'm just going to be, you see these little flashing lightning bolts above his head? It shows he's about to hit me. I'm just going to be hitting triangle to counter. It's the same thing in Mad Max, Assassin's Creed, except Assassin's Creed you hit circle. You know, Lord of the Rings, you can just stand here and counter the enemies all day without even punching or kicking them. Now when Batman counters enemies, he actually counters and hits them back without you hitting the attack button. It's the same thing with Mad Max. Mad Max will elbow him or punch him. Now there are little differences, like Mad Max can pull out his double barrel and shoot him once in the middle of fighting, not when he's countering but fighting. Batman can use gadgets, smoke bombs, batarangs, the bat claw. Assassin's Creed, when he counters, he doesn't hit them back like Mad Max or Batman. He shoves them to the side. But when they fall on their stomach or something, or on their back, he can run up and assassinate them. In Assassin's Creed, like Assassin's Creed Freedom Cry, you can also pull out your blunderbuss and shoot them, or shoot them with a sleeping dart or a berserk dart in the middle of fighting. So there's different things you can do when you're actually attacking. But right now I'm just focusing on countering. So let's look at it. See, I countered. I'm not attacking, I'm just hitting counter. That's a double counter. Now Batman is actually hitting him when he's countering. So it's the same thing in the Mad Max game. They try to hit you, you get a prompt to hit triangle to counter, and you can just counter. Surrounded by enemies, you can just counter all day. Now Mad Max is a WB game. The Witcher series is a WB game. All 4 Batman Arkham games are WB games. Lord of the Rings Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War are all WB games, or both WB games. And it's the same in all those games. Hit triangle to counter, hit triangle to counter. It's pretty much the same combat. I can attack anytime. I can do a counter and a hit, kind of like Batman. Let's just go back to countering. See, he hit him when he countered. The only difference is I'm hitting triangle to counter and hitting square to hit the guy. Yep, and there you have it. The same exact combat. In Batman, he'll hit him with just countering. In Mad Max, he'll just counter all day like you saw unless I hit the square. But yeah, it's the same thing. Just like Mad Max, the Batman Arkham series, and The Witcher, Lord of the Rings, Shadow of Mordor, and Shadow of War is another WB game that has the same type of mechanics. It even has special vision like Batman's detective vision, as you can see right here, or the vision in Assassin's Creed series, or even the vision from The Witcher. So basically the same thing, you know. Combat is a little different for special enemies, but it's basically the same counter. Let's surround ourselves with enemies. Let's see how it works. Now, besides the ranged enemies, you still got that triangle counter. Yeah, you can dodge. You can do things a little different. You can dodge. But it's basically when they try to hit you, triangle to counter. And as you can see, he hits them back. Now, yeah, you got a couple of ranged enemies in this game, so you might want to take them down. But even while you're trying to take them down, someone will try and hit you. And when they try and hit you, you hit that triangle. So while I'm attacking that guy, somebody else will come up to hit me. Yeah, I got executions and things like that. Let's get this guy out the way. Get those range guys out the way. But as you can see, I can just stand there and counter all day if I get the special ranged enemies out the way. And when he counters, he automatically hits them back. Same thing as Mad Max. Same thing as the Batman Arkham series. And in the meantime, I can attack. But yeah, same exact combat. Then there's a big guy somewhere around here. You can just dodge him. Here's a good example in The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt of the whole parry block counter thing. Surround ourselves by ghouls. Just hold down that block button, that parry button, and he's basically untouchable. Yeah, I can roll. You know, I can dodge. In The Witcher, it's a little different, and instead of it just being a counter, it's just a block only, but it's also a block and a parry, meaning if I'm fighting an enemy with a sword, he'll probably parry them and knock them back. But yeah, it's the same thing. Then of course you can attack, but you can still just surround yourself and basically not get hurt. If I stand still, let's see. And see, they not hurting me at all. And I can attack. Same combat as Lord of the Rings. Pretty much same as Assassin's Creed, Batman, Mad Max. So you get where I'm going with this. Okay, so just like the Batman Arkham series, the Witcher series, the Lord of the Rings, Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War series, and even Mad Max, the Assassin's Creed series, pretty much has the exact same combat as all those other games. Meaning if you're surrounded by enemies, those games give you a prompt that says hit triangle to counter right before an enemy's about to hit you. Assassin's Creed is the same, except it gives you a prompt to hit circle when you're surrounded by enemies to counter. But basically, it's the same exact combat. Yeah, I know some of those games have a block mechanic where if you're surrounded by enemies, you can block or counter or do both. Assassin's Creed doesn't have the block mechanic, but just like most of the other games, it has the counter mechanic. Now, Assassin's Creed is a stealth game, so you should not be getting into combat and, you know, being forced to fight a bunch of people. But if you have to, it'll do the same exact thing as the other games. Check this out. I even got my vision that shows me the enemies in red. Same as the Wraith vision from Lord of the Rings, Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War. Same as Batman's detective vision. Yeah, I can do different things, like I can shoot this guy right here, put him to sleep. You know, you can do that in the middle of a fight if you want. I could even knock him out, or I'll pick up his weapon. I could either knock him out, like, you know, pick up his body, things like that, but we're trying to get into a fight. So, you see that big guy there? Yeah, we better take him out. Yeah, we better get that guy. Good. So now let's get into a fight. You see that big guy there? That's one of the only ways you can break a counter in any of these games. If there's a big strong guy who can't be countered. Okay, pull out my machete. So now I'm surrounded by enemies, and this is what I wanted to show you. You could just counter all day. In all these games, it's the same thing. Yeah, I can. Let me see. Can I throw any of these guys? Let's go somewhere we could throw some of them. See how I'm throwing that guy around? Certain guys can be thrown, and then I can run up to them and stab them if I throw them. But basically, it's the same thing over and over again. Just counter all these guys. So the counter is unbreakable unless you're fighting a big, strong enemy like that guy I assassinated. There's a big, strong guy and electric guys and things like that in Batman 2, guys in Mad Max that you can't counter. But other than that, I could just stand here and counter all day. So in Batman and in Mad Max, when you hit the counter button, he might kick him, elbow him, or something like that. Assassin's Creed doesn't do that, so it's a little different. But in Assassin's Creed, you can throw the guy when you counter him. I guess these guys are too strong to throw, but you can throw the guy when you counter him, and then you can run up and hit him, you know? But basically, it's the same combat. See, I can like throw different guys and stuff. But basically, the only way to break the counter is if I try to attack this guy. Okay, y'all gonna let me attack him? Y'all not gonna let me show y'all what I'm talking about? Yeah, so if you try to attack a guy while you're surrounded by enemies countering, that's when another guy hits you. You see when he hits me? It's like that in every game. If I try to attack a guy, that's when the other guy hits me. So to avoid that, you have to hurry up and hit counter again. See? Like that. And it's like that in every game. Now you see how I threw him? Yeah, I can go stab him while he's down. So that's the difference. Batman might throw a smoke bomb or pull the enemy towards him with the grappling hook or throw batarangs. Mad Max can pull out his double barrel for a one shot or hold down square to hit him with a super strong punch to knock him out. So each game has its own little tweak. But yeah, it's basically the same thing. You could just counter them all day till you feel like attacking. When you feel like attacking, you hurry up and hit counter. That's the only way they can get your enemy down. Hurry up and hit counter before the next guy hits you. Long as you're hitting that counter button, you unbreakable unless it's a strong enemy. Like, gotta hurry up and hit counter, because that's the only time they'll try to hit you is when you trying to hit one of them. Like if I try to counter this guy, see, that's the only way they can get you. Gotta hurry up and hit counter in the middle of an attack, like attack counter. That's the only way they can get you. Wow, it's a bunch of them. I could take them out on the bridge. That's not gonna work on me. I'm Spider-Man. Mark of the Kree and the sequel Rise of the Kasai that you see here. As you can see, one of the first earlier games for the PS2 to do the whole impregnable block thing. I'll show you. I'm surrounded by enemies. Hold down the block. It's a little different from the counter move, but these guys can't hurt me at all if I'm blocking. And it depends on the weapon in this game, but this is an older game. I go to attack this guy, and another guy will try and hit me. But yeah, basically the same combat. Look at that block. He can't be hurt at all. See that impregnable block. So basically this is an early version of that combat that we've been talking about in this video. When he's countering. Now that guy charged at me and I dodged out the way. And that's what I was telling you about. The counter is unbreakable in all of these games. Unless there's a special enemy or a special move or enemy with weapons. For instance, in Batman, that guy charged at me. I wouldn't have been able to counter it. There's enemies in Batman that have electric batons. You can't counter those. There are big enemies in Batman. Enemies with blades. Enemies with guns. Those are the people that you can't use counter against. But other than that, counter is unbreakable. The only way that your enemies can take down your health, whether it's Assassin's Creed, Mad Max, or anything else, is if someone goes to hit you and you counter them, you know, the next guy will try and hit you. So if I go to punch guy 1, guy 2 will hurry up and try and hit me. So if I don't hit counter for guy 2, I'll get hit. But if I just stand here and hit counter only without attack, I can just counter all these guys. If I'm actually attacking, they'll still attack me while I'm attacking their friends. So I have to counter. So that's the only way you get hit. So let's see how easy it is to get hit. Because if I punch a guy and don't hit the other guy, that guy counters me. Punch this guy, but don't hit those guys. That's how you get hit. That's the only way to take down your health. But if I just keep hitting counter, besides the special guy, if I just keep hitting counter, none of them will hit me. Even doing a double counter, he'll knock them out just by countering without even hitting. Now, this is a triple counter. Let's see this one. And then you got your special combos you can use when your combo meter is full. Now, you can attack and counter at the same time. Like I hit that guy, countered those 3. Hit that guy, counter those 3. I can use special combat moves. So I can attack these guys. You know, I can attack these guys, and while their friends are trying to counter me, hit me, I can still counter. That's a double counter. I can do special moves. Oh, they just gonna chase me forever, huh? I can throw batarangs at guys. I can backclaw guy. Hit him. You know, you can dodge, but like I said, if I just want to stand here and counter like this, I can counter these guys till they're knocked out. I can call in the Batmobile. I can do all kind of different stuff. I can do a Batmobile assisted takedown, knock him in the air, the Batmobile shoots him. You know, grappling hook. I can do special moves like this. But yeah, that's the combat system. The same combat system in all of the other games, you know, with little tweaks and stuff. And, you know, I could also run around just attacking everybody I see. But yeah, let's check out some other games.
Not over yet, boys! You regret coming here, boy? here. I can kill you. Go down. We've got an army here! Crush him! Submit! All at once! Push him down! I'm gonna crush you!
So, yep, just counter, 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 without attacking. Also, I can do things like, I'll show you a ground takedown. Next time I knock a guy on the ground, I'll do a ground takedown. Like this guy, ground takedown him. And if while you're doing a ground takedown, another guy will try and hit you. And if you hit him fast, if you counter him fast enough, you can take him down.
You're gonna die.
And sometimes your counter will do a finishing move. Now, I can do stuff like start attacking everybody without doing any counters. You can do this in all the games. Still counter the one guy who almost hits you, you know? So you can combine counters and attacks in all these games, but you can see how it's similar to all of them. The last guy is out.